All right, good morning, guys. You guys should just finish up the do now question for the day. Explain the difference between supply side and demand side economics in R.A.G.E format. So, uh, last lesson we talked about supply side and demand side economics. Talked about demand side being, at the end of the day, trying to put more money in the hands and pockets of consumers by lowering things like maybe income tax or sales tax, things like that, just trying to put more money in their pockets under the understanding that, hey, if they have more money, they're gonna go out and spend that money. They're gonna go spend that money. Businesses are making money, help get the economy going that way. Then we have supply side economics, which is essentially the same thing, but instead of giving it to consumers, we're trying to put more money in the hands of businesses and corporations, in the belief that, hey, if they have more money to spend, because they're not paying as much into taxes, they're not paying, for these extra fees or regulations, whatever it may be, then they're going to have more money to expand their businesses, to create new factories, create new locations, this, that, and the other, whatever it may be. And so to help you get the economy going that way. So you guys should have had some semblance of that in your answer. Whatever you guys have, just make sure it's 4 to 5 sentences. Make sure you get it written down. All right, so today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into supply and demand side economics. We're going to discuss 2 instances where we've kind of tried out these 2 methods in the past, and then we're going to kind of leave it up to you at the end to decide, okay, which one do you think was more effective and why. All right, so first one we're going to discuss is something called the New Deal. So we've talked about the Great Depression before in this class. We talked about how it led to a point where lots of people were unemployed. People weren't spending that much money. They were trying to hoard it because they were afraid. The banks were closing. They didn't trust anybody else to have their money, and so they weren't spending money. They weren't spending money. Businesses weren't making money, and so people become unemployed. Businesses shut down, and so on and so forth. And so when he was elected, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he was elected under this idea that, hey, I'm going to help solve this problem. And his solution to this was something he called the New Deal. And so this policy, essentially, he came up with, had a number of different parts. And so we're not going to go into every single one of them today, but we're going to cover some of the highlights. So first off, this new policy, this new project included creating public works projects. So essentially the government trying to create jobs out of nothing. Basically them saying, hey, okay, we'll hire you to come help clean up our national parks. Hey, we need people to help, trash collection, things like that. Come work for the government. We will pay you to do these, perform these services. Also, a number of construction projects were conducted around this time. So things like the Golden Gate Bridge, the Hoover Dam, saying, hey, all right, let's build this stuff, and if we, we're going to put people to work for doing it. We're going to pay you to do it. And so, obviously, this causes us to borrow a little bit of money in order to pay for this. But at the end of the day, it put people to work, it put money in the pockets of people, and then it helped, get the economy going. Secondly, we talked about subsidies. We haven't really talked about this much in the past, but it's essentially this idea that through a number of different ways, we have farmers. Farmers grow food. Food feeds people. People go to work. But the government had this idea of, okay, we're going to actually pay farmers to probably not grow as much food. We're going to pay them to not grow as much. And, take it a step further, we are actually going to buy some of their, like if they were a rancher, they had cattle. We were going to buy the cattle, and then we are going to destroy the cattle. And so you might think, under what possible circumstances, in what world is that a good thing? We're growing food, we're making food for people to survive. How's that help? Well, if we go back to basic laws of supply and demand for a minute, if we lower the supply, if we decrease the supply, what happens to the price of that stuff the farmer's growing, or the beef, or whatever it may be. So if I lower the supply, the price is going to go up. The price is going to go up. That means the farmer's going to make more money. If the farmer makes more money, he's going to be able to regrow again next season. He's going to be able to stay in business. As opposed to, hey, if the prices are super, super low, even though people are buying corn, soybeans, whatever they're buying from the farmer's not making that much money. And the problem with that is, if the farmer's not making much money, then next year he's not going to have enough to, do it again. He's going to slowly go out of business because he's not making enough money. And so if that happens, then okay, the farmer can't grow food the next year. He can't raise cattle the next year. And so slowly this would hurt people because, all these farmers would go out of business. So, kind of a lot to unpack there, but hopefully now you kind of understand the purpose behind it. And so, like I said, it's not all-inclusive, but it's kind of a quick summary of a couple things that happened, and how this all relates back to demand-side economics, this whole idea of putting money in the pockets of everyday people. And so below in the description, you'll see a YouTube link right after that last bullet point. Please stop the video and play that. It's only about a minute or so long. It'll kind of give you a quick summary of what happened, kind of wrap up as moving into the next section here. All right, so next up, we're going to fast forward up until the 1980s with something called Reaganomics. This was kind of a slang term at the time, but it kind of, got some traction and became, what it was called over time. So, Reaganomics, Ronald Reagan's economic policy. Ronald Reagan was elected, and he had this idea that, hey, if we lower taxes and regulations on businesses, because, hey, they haven't been having to, they haven't been able to grow, they haven't been able to expand like they could. And, hey, if they have more freedom to expand and to grow, then, hey, that's going to be great things. If there's more factories, that means we can make more stuff. If there are, more businesses, that means, hey, more people are going to have jobs. So we thought, hey, this is a great idea. We should really get behind this. And so that's what ended up happening. That's what he tried to do. So reduce taxes and restrictions on businesses. And so this idea that businesses have more money to expand and stimulate the economy. And once again, when I say expand, that means, hey, we have a little extra money in our pockets. We can build new locations. We can build more stuff. And so this is good for everybody. Everybody's going to benefit. So if the top people have more money to spend, and this is also not only called Reaganomics, but another term for it was trickle-down economics. So the idea is if I put the money up here with all the businesses and rich people, it will slowly trickle down to the average everyday worker. And so everybody's going to benefit from it. Everybody's going to do really well. So once again, if you notice in the description, there's the YouTube link right below it. Go ahead and pause this video and click on that. It's a short speech given by Reagan, kind of explaining his policy and what he's wanting to do with it. All right, so covered two different situations. Two different examples in the country's history where we tried to practice both supply and demand-side economics. So now, here I'm going to exit slip kind of into a couple different parts. First off, between these two policies, what are the differences between these two? What is the difference in thinking between both Reaganomics and the New Deal? And then how did both these plans help to look to help the United States? And then finally, so it's kind of in three parts here, which one do you think would have worked out better? Or which one do you think works out better, and tell me why? So once again, you're telling me the difference between the two. You're telling me how these plans both look to help the United States. And then thirdly, which do you think of these two was most successful and why? So looking for about 6 to 7 sentences here. So if you guys have any questions, please write a comment down in the description down below or shoot me an email. If not, I'll see you guys next time.